check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Check, baby, 1, 2, 3.
It's the Homeschool Mom Survival Guide.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another fantastic episode of the Homeschool Mom Survival Guide. We are bringing it to you live. Right now, it's recorded when you're listening to it. I have no idea why I just said we're bringing it to you live. Lie number 1 of today. This is not live. Just kidding. This is Lisa Jorgensen and my lovely tiara-wearing co-host,
Amy Lucas. But hey, we're live right now.
We are.
So,
we're live right now.
I mean, technically, it's not a lie.
Yeah. I don't really edit anything out other than the very beginning and the very end. I leave every mess up that we make in there.
I think Biden would say that is absolutely right, because if we believe right now that it's the truth while we're saying it, then it's the truth.
I agree. Therefore, I did not lie to you.
We have a warning.
We have a warning today.
Before this one, we have to give you a warning.
Yeah, so this might come as a shock to some of you, but neither Amy nor I are any kind of licensed medical person. We're not doctors or nurses.
I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express once, though.
Yes.
So that kind of qualifies me?
Pretty much. We would also like to say to everyone that supplement use should be individualized and vetted by a healthcare professional, such as a registered dietitian, a pharmacist, or a healthcare provider. No supplement is intended to treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So, that being said, today we had a request to talk more about plants and medicinal uses for said plants. So Amy and I are going to start that. This might become a series. It might not. It just depends on whether or not Amy and I remember that it was going to be a series or not.
I'm excited.
I am too.
You know why I'm excited.
Because you're going to talk about cool stuff. And you're crunchy.
And
you're creating crunchiness.
I'm driving down the road looking for half this stuff.
So if any of you see Amy foraging in your ditch, just move along. It's okay. She's just pulling your weeds, stealing your medicine. It's cool.
But if you're going to pull from a ditch, you need to make sure that it's an area that's not being sprayed. Pesticides in the surrounding area.
Very true.
Not just any ditch.
Yeah. So she probably won't be in your ditch, but you just never know. You never know.
Never know.
It's hard to tell. Well, today I am talking about eucalyptus.
Nice.
Because I have been seeing, for those of you who have listened or know me, you know that I really like TikTok. And there is a new TikTok trend where people are buying eucalyptus stems and they hang it in their bathroom, in their shower. And I've been seeing this all over the place. And I was like, why? I thought it was just because it was pretty, but I decided to actually look into it. And I found out that there are like a ton of really good reasons to put it into your shower. And it lasts for like 2 months. So you only have to buy your stems like once every 2 months. So, Amy looks doubting.
I'm just, okay, I suppose 2 months, yeah, you could probably do. I think it's more expensive than you think to do it that way, but I know where they're going with it, and we've used it. Well, let's get you into talking about your knowledgeable sources, and then I'll kind of feed in. I've used eucalyptus for years.
Okay.
I'm a big fan. There's a lot of uses, especially if you have smaller children. Yeah. I used it with the boys all the time when they were little.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Lots of uses for it.
I've used eucalyptus for years and had no idea I was using eucalyptus because Vicks Vapor Rub uses eucalyptus oil in it.
Yeah, that's pretty far down on their ingredient list, though.
Oh, so it was listed on here on this site which site was it? I'll have to figure it out in a minute because I have several sites on here. But on this site, it was actually listed as being one of the better sources of eucalyptus because they're using high quality eucalyptus and they're actually using real eucalyptus versus eucalyptus scent, which is what's in a lot of different products.
Right.
But I don't know. But eucalyptus also has to be really diluted, so that could possibly be why it's lower down on the list. I don't know.
Yeah, we similar to Vicks Vapor Rub. My boys would call it the magic lotion because when they were little, that's when they would have a stuffy nose. I made up a concoction. And we would put it on their feet and then put their socks on and put it. Yep. The only difference was the stuff that I made up. If they were going to school the next morning or we had to go somewhere, you didn't have to wash it off. With Vicks Vapor Rub, if you're using that, especially if it's like wintertime, I recommend you literally wash it off of them before they go outside and play. It stays on their body. It can cause them to be a little too open when they're outside and can cause them to get pneumonia.
Oh, we have never done that. Huh. Well, my kid never got pneumonia, so
that's good.
I'm good about that.
You never washed it off, so you used it and you didn't just send them off into the wild.
Yeah, no.
To play.
My mom used it on us, and we never washed it off. We just put it on and then went about our lives. And I did the same thing with my kids. I put it on them and send them out into the world. And
I could be totally wrong. I have not done a whole lot of testing on that theory.
Yeah, I don't know.
My parents never used Vicks Vapor Rub, and I don't know why I remember this, but my aunt used it on my cousins. I remember it being in their, why do I remember this? In their medicine cabinet, and I would open the jar and smell it.
Oh, I love
just very curious as to what it was, and we never had it in our house growing up, though. But no, I would make magic lotion for the boys using pure eucalyptus oil, and man, so you can use peppermint too if you do a mix. Just if you use peppermint, what I don't like about peppermint is peppermint can be pungent on the eyes, like very fumey, whereas just straight eucalyptus, you can put it up on their neck, you could even put it on their upper lip, and there's no fumes to irritate the eyes.
Oh, that was another thing that they had warned about. So you might want to do a little more research on this. The National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy said that you want to keep it very much diluted, 1 to 5% eucalyptus oil and 95 to 99% carrier oil, and to avoid getting it near your eyes because it can actually cause burns and irritation from the fumes that are coming off of it. Which I do remember that as a kid when I would put it on my face, because I used to put it like right under my nose, and I remember that it would make my eyes water, but it didn't burn, it just made my eyes water.
Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know enough about Vicks and their strength. The brand that I always purchased was Now.
Okay.
And we never had that experience. So maybe it was a less potent version. But
could be.
That actually, I've even taken it at night and I put it on the pillow. Okay. I take the dropper and just drop it straight on the pillow, and the boys like that because it, again, like peppermint, it will open up the lungs, it'll open up the sinuses, but I never found it to be as strong. But again, maybe it's not as potent in the stuff that I'm buying versus what Vicks is putting in.
Or maybe the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy is being overly cautious. I don't know. I don't know this association. I was just looking up different resources on eucalyptus. So I have not vetted the NAHA, and I cannot attest to their accuracy either. It's just what I just found a statement from them stating that, and also warning to never use it, to not use the oil orally, like not to swallow it.
Yeah, I've never done that.
So don't drink it. That's a bad idea. But they, yeah. So some of the basics about eucalyptus were that it's a fast-growing Australian evergreen tree, which I didn't know it was an evergreen. I didn't know it was in Australia. I knew nothing about it. I just knew that it was like dangly and had leaves on it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but it's fast-growing, so you can buy it and it quickly replenishes itself. Or if you have the ability to grow your own eucalyptus tree, then you could have like a constant supply.
So kind of like bamboo.
Yeah.
It regenerates really fast.
Yeah, it just keeps growing and growing. It's been used in Chinese, I'm going to kill this word, Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic, yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Hey, why didn't they spell it better?
I didn't think Ayurvedic was Chinese.
No. Chinese, Ayurvedic, Greek, and other European medicines to treat a range of conditions for over 1,000 years now.
Yeah, so like all these new shampoos and shampoo bars and all that stuff that's like coming out, like that's Ayurvedic practices. Like it's like oils and herbs.
Ayurvedic? How do you say it?
Well, now you're trying to make me the expert.
No,
look at how I pronounce half the things that I say. I don't do it right. I do it in my own way. But I believe it's Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic. I'm going to try and remember that. I'm probably
AYUR, right?
Yes, AYURVEDIC.
Yeah, Ayurvedic.
Ayurvedic.
Yeah.
I've
got a couple really good sites. There's like facial products and stuff like that you can purchase.
Nice.
I've been wanting to get some books so I can start making things myself.
That does not surprise me.
What?
I don't think it surprises any of our listeners either. They can hear how the crunch through the speaker.
I don't know. Is it the crunch? You know what? One of the things here's something interesting that I've been noticing, and it's really because of the pages that I follow. I don't do TikTok. Surprise.
That's weird.
But Facebook, Instagram. There's big fat warnings as false information that is being put on absolutely all of this stuff.
Yep.
And I think that has a lot to do with people mistrusting Western medicine.
Yeah.
And wanting to get more back to a natural way of healing.
Yeah.
Warning that I will put out there that I have found as someone who has a sketchy immune system, right?
Yes.
Gets sick often.
Yep.
If you are going to use herbs and these type of practices to try and heal yourself, when they say start it immediately as symptoms arise, they're not kidding. Because, for example, pneumonia. If you're like way into this pneumonia before you're even attempting to start a treatment, homeopathic is probably not going to be your best bet.
Yeah, you got to get ahead of it.
You have to get ahead of it for it to have, and then understand it's not like 24 to 48 hours and you're going to see results. It's maybe a week. Okay. And it's more from a standpoint of it's not going to necessarily do a better job than an antibiotic. It's definitely not going to do a better job as fast as an antibiotic. But if you're someone who is attempting to find a path outside of taking antibiotics, you have to get on the ball right from the beginning. You have to be consistent.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to fail at it.
I've heard a lot of people who are expressing interest in some of the herbal medicines and things like that are wanting it not even as a treatment, but as a preventative. They're wanting to like balance gut health, and they're wanting to like just improve their health overall by using more natural products and getting away from all of the chemicals and the things that we don't necessarily know what's going into them. So I would recommend getting involved in it there and not trying to get involved in it once something is wrong. I feel like that's maybe more of a seasoned herbal person path would be to start trying to treat things that are wrong, and maybe you should try getting into it while you're healthy, and then that way you already have an idea of what you're doing when something starts to go wrong, and then you add that in as well. That would be my thought. But
You know, one of the greatest things, and I say this because today is my day one back attempting to do this, that someone could do if they wanted to just start gaining control of their system, their health, their body. The number one thing that we take into our bodies that absolutely destroys your immune system, it destroys your ability to fight, is sugar.
yeah,
Like processed sugar. I'm not talking about fruit.
no,
I'm not talking about honey.
all of the
I'm talking
processed.
about processed sugar, whether it's bleached sugar, brown sugar, high fructose corn syrup, all of the sucralose, all of the things that they have, and they are just shoving in all of the product, in milk.
Yes.
It's really hard to find something in a grocery store
Yes.
that doesn't have sugar in it.
And the problem with going outside the grocery store is the cost. Because
Yes.
everything's so expensive now that people have to make decisions like, okay, I want to feed my family healthier. I want them to be able to have things that aren't filled with garbage. But if I buy the stuff that's actually like good for them, then I can only afford half of my groceries. So that's another problem that we run into. We need to make this stuff more prevalent. Find a way to make it easier to get a hold of and more cost effective for people to be able to switch over to healthier versions.
Yeah, eucalyptus is awesome. Now, eucalyptus is not, I don't know if you can grow that locally. Can we
have
even
no
grow
idea.
that?
I would assume not, because Australia's climate is so different than ours. Maybe if you have like a heated greenhouse, you could, but I don't know how many people have heated greenhouses. If you have one and you have ever, by chance, grown eucalyptus, let us know. I feel like nobody's going to respond to that one. I don't think that anybody we know has a heated greenhouse.
No.
But
that
would be awesome to have.
That
Now
would
I
be.
want one.
Yes.
Now we need to get heated greenhouses with eucalyptus trees in them.
Yes.
Deal. I'm gonna tell my husband to start building it
Yeah,
today.
get on. Would you get on that one?
I'm gonna.
I've got
I got it.
4 fig trees that I'm
Sweet.
growing at the house.
That's fantastic.
I think I'm gonna have to bring them inside though first season
Yeah.
once we get to fall, so that they actually will root and plant in
Yeah.
the ground next spring
Okay.
and give me the fruit. Do you like fig?
I don't know. I've never had fig.
You have fig Newton bars? You ever had fig Newtons?
I don't think so.
What? What's wrong with you,
My
man?
parents did not raise me right. Mom, if you're listening to this, this is your fault.
I mean, fig Newtons aren't necessarily healthy, but figs are cool. They're sweet. What did we recently have at the house? We had blueberry fig bars and raspberry fig bars.
Aren't they kind of like prunes? Don't they make you poop?
No, I don't know the pooping status on them, to be honest.
How are you going to talk about a product and not know the pooping status?
I don't know the pooping status.
That is weird. Why would you not know that? I'm very disappointed in
I know my
Amy's crunchiness.
husband, we dates a lot.
Okay.
Which is another sweet. And figs, when my husband was running triathlons, and all the rage at that time were these containers, it was called Goop.
Oh, those things were so disgusting.
Thank you. Instead of that,
Yeah.
before a triathlon, my husband would cut up figs and dates and put them in his little whatever that he wore,
His fanny pack.
his fanny pack.
Yes.
And he swears his recovery time, especially there was one triathlon where his brother was competing at the same one.
Okay.
And his brother had the goop, and Travis had figs and dates. And whereas the goop you can just squirt and swallow and you're done,
Yeah.
the figs and the dates, Travis said it does take a little bit of practice because I'm not a runner, so I wouldn't know this. Chewing and running at the same time can be difficult
Yeah, because you have to breathe.
because you have
It's
to
hard
breathe.
it's hard
Okay.
to breathe while you're chewing and running.
But he swears his recovery time, where
Nice.
Brooks was his brother, was completely depleted by the end of the triathlon. Travis was still full of energy.
Nice.
And then from a soreness factor, recovery-wise, after the competition, Trav's recovery time was quicker.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind because we used to run the obstacle course ones. We haven't done it in a few years because they shut them all down in 2020. But my husband was just saying that he wanted to get back into that, and that gives us a reason to start working out together as a family because Sebastian wants to train and do them as well. So for next year, so dates and figs.
The nice thing that I like about figs, like dates, is you can dehydrate them.
Okay.
So you can eat them fresh.
Yeah.
Because Morgan was just asking me that yesterday. When the fig trees start producing fruit, can we eat it right off, or do we have to dehydrate them? And I said, no, you can do both. But the benefit is that you can dehydrate them
Yeah.
and use them later.
Nice.
We tend to buy our dates at the Mediterranean grocery store because you can get
I love
them
that place.
in a larger quantity.
Okay.
They're fresher.
Nice.
Versus, the local. I'm not going to name the names.
Yeah.
They're not so fresh.
Yeah.
But did you know, here's a fun fact. Do you like Snickers?
They're okay.
They're okay.
Yeah.
Just okay?
They're okay.
Okay.
Hey.
You can take a date and you slice it
Mm-hmm.
and you fill it with either creamy or chunky peanut butter.
Okay.
All right. Put it in the freezer for about an hour. Melt chocolate. Dip them in. Put them back in the freezer or the fridge.
Yeah.
Let them set up. It tastes exactly like a Snickers.
Oh,
Exactly like a Snickers,
that actually sounds pretty good.
but no sugar. Yeah, the problem is they're like, yay big, inch and a
bite-sized.
half, bite size, whereas a
bite-sized,
Snickers
yeah.
is like, whether or not you get the supersized Snickers or the double pack Snickers, which
Yeah.
is the whole problem with why I weigh what I weigh.
Right.
But it's a nice compromise. The thing that we have to get
Nice.
into our heads is, I have to get into my head, is you don't need that big stick. Jesus in the Bible call us to deny ourselves.
Yes.
Okay? Why do we not deny ourselves gorging?
Because it's delicious
I know it is.
and it's bad, and we shouldn't. Be
And you
doing
can have it anytime you want, but do we
Yes.
really need the supersized Snickers?
it. No.
Or should we just be satisfied with one or two of
Yes.
the,
Yes.
healthier version? You still get that craving quenched.
Yep. You get that release of what is it? No. Whatever your brain releases, the pleasure.
Serotonin?
Serotonin. There you go.
Is it the serotonin?
We're gonna say yes, and if we're wrong, too bad.
If you know which hormone is released in the brain when you eat chocolate and it makes you happy,
Yeah.
please send it to us in the comments.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is.
We are not experts. We're just talking.
What?
You know what? Just hold yourself a second.
My bad.
Hold your mule. Hold your mule, Lisa. No, seriously, we are not experts. Some of this stuff I have quietly done for years, and Lisa is just uncovering the little things that I do. But obviously, I'm not perfect at it. Like, I didn't know the whole fixed vapor rub. I didn't know the warnings on her eucalyptus. I just applied it to my kid's face and called it good and said, see you in the morning. And, I didn't know I could have blinded him.
But they're still both alive.
They're both alive. Their vision is fine.
Yeah.
Morgan's problems he was born with, his vision. It has nothing to do with eucalyptus use.
His bad eyesight is not because...
His bad eyesight has nothing to do with me. But
I know
seriously.
you're wearing glasses right now.
I am.
Oh.
And there's a whole story on that one, but
Yeah.
whatever. No, seriously, a lot of this stuff that we're talking about, if you leave us comments, there's no need for nasty comments. We're all about growth and educating, and if there's more information that you would like to provide, we're happy to give you a shout out on a future podcast and
We would love that.
correct or add to the information. It's great. We want this to be a learning community. We want this to be a community that we share information and information gets shared with us, and we're just trying to be as open and honest as possible.
True story.
So, besides Vicks Vapor Rub,
Yes.
have you ever used eucalyptus any other way?
I have, and I didn't realize I was using it then either. It is used in a lot of the muscle,
Yes.
like relaxer, painkiller
Yes.
things, and I didn't know that either. It's also used in cough drops, which, so I'm assuming I've had eucalyptus. I thought it was flavored, and it was disgusting. So I don't like it that way in the cough drops. But it's in, let's see, it is
I think it's one of the ones that's in Ricola.
probably, I didn't like those either.
Oh, we love those. I have to hide those. The boys think those are candy. I'm not even joking. I have to hide those.
You can hide them here and they will not get eaten. In fact, I think I have a pack of them in my cupboard because Mike bought it for us and neither Sebastian and I will eat
Oh, they
them.
are the best cough drops out there. Seriously.
So we, here. There are over 400 species of eucalyptus.
Oh, I did not know that.
I didn't either. And different species are used for different things, which was fun. The oil is usually blue eucalyptus.
Wow.
Yeah, which I don't know if it's like more blue in color or why it's called blue. I didn't look that up.
I'm blue, baba-dee, baba-doo.
Song break. And you can use the leaves, the stems, or the oil, which is extracted from the leaves and stems. It contains flavonoids and tannins, which flavonoids are plant-based antioxidants, and tannins are used to reduce inflammation. So, super cool. I learned another super fun fact, which I thought was kind of gross, and I'm going to share right now. It has antibacterial and antimicrobial properties. And in the 19th century, hospitals used it to clean catheters, urinary catheters, which they stopped doing that and they went to using stronger chemicals. And now studies are showing that eucalyptus is actually more effective in cleaning those catheters than stronger chemicals. So I thought that was kind of funny. We're like doing a full circle here.
Wow.
They're coming back to eucalyptus to start.
While
doing-
blocking the information on...
Yes, while fake news, this is fake news. Don't be listening to none of that stuff.
Okay, I'm just going to make one statement out there so that you guys understand, and this is truth. There's no money to be made by the drug companies if you're going natural.
True. They get nothing out of it.
Unless they can attempt to regulate it, which in some cases, that's exactly what they're attempting to do. Random example during COVID, NAC. Oh, darn it. Hold on a second. Because I never can remember what it actually stands for. It is... Hold on. I'm going to make Lisa pronounce it.
Oh no. We saw
There
what
you
happened
go.
earlier.
Right there. And
NAC. Oh, N-acetylcysteine.
yeah,
N-acetylcysteine.
she's got the degrees. and I don't have the degree, so her pronunciation would be a lot better than I am. So it's an amino acid. It has been around since the 70s.
Okay.
Okay. It is used to remove free radicals from the body. Toxins, whatnot. They've started giving it to patients who have COPD, like big time.
Nice.
And this is from a pulmonologist, one of the accidental side effects that they found from doing a case study, like this is not what they were testing, but this is what they found to be true, was that it helped remove mucus from the lungs.
Oh.
It would,
Nice.
I don't know if it reduces the inflammation or how that actually works. So I used to have a lung disease, went through treatment. How I got introduced to NAC was a woman my husband was working with. When I got done with my treatment, my body was just destroyed. We got the lung disease, but it had depleted and destroyed so much in my body. Okay. And she had actually been being treated for fluoride overdose.
Okay.
Okay, so she was taking all of these medications that had fluoride in them. Plus, I don't remember how or why she was getting it. Otherwise, anyways, long story short, she was working with a doctor who prescribed NAC to help remove those free radicals from her body.
Okay.
She was super successful at it. And she had suggested that I do it to try to get the chemicals from the medications out of my body. Okay?
Okay.
So we had bought it first for that. I did it for like 60 days and I stopped using it. And the first thing that I realized after I stopped using it was all of a sudden I had fluid in my lungs again.
Oh.
And I was like, what is going on? It can't be the NAC, but we got more NAC, and almost instantly when I started taking it again, the mucus and the fluids in my lungs were gone.
Wow.
It's always a fun annual trip to my pulmonologist, because she'll always ask me what kind of, her words, hippie things I'm attempting to take nowadays. This was actually the one thing that she blessed.
Wow.
And she said they had done a case study on, the free radicals, and what they found was the side effects was it helped remove stuff in the lungs. So that was one that she absolutely blessed. Well, during COVID, they tried to take it off the market.
Oh. I mean, I could see that.
Since it had been approved in the early 70s as a vitamin, they now wanted to take it off the market and make it prescription only.
Oh, okay.
I ended up buying cases of it, honestly, because I wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah.
They fought it, and I'm getting approved. It's back on the shelves, no problem.
That's good.
But it's an example of little things like that they're attempting to move in on.
Yeah.
And somehow then turn around and make it something else. And I believe from a prescription standpoint, they have done that. For COPD patients, there's a script that they're being prescribed.
Yeah.
A medication that they're being prescribed. So they make money off of it, but it's basically just NAC.
Okay.
The thing with NAC too is there's no maximum dose.
Okay.
So I choose to typically take 1,000 milligrams a day. It's just what I do.
Okay.
And when I get sick, I up that to 1,000 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day.
Oh, okay. So you can't overdose on it.
No.
Nice.
Nope. Anything extra that your body can't use, it will just get rid of.
Nice. Okay.
And we totally got off topic, I know. But the whole point in that was them attempting to control something that's naturally occurring.
Yeah, find a way to make money off of it.
And find a way to make money on it.
Yep. So, Let's see. Another study that was published in the Clinical Microbiology and Infection, found that eucalyptus was effective in helping to treat pathogenic bacteria in the upper respiratory tract, as well as some strains of streptococcus.
Oh, yeah.
So, another use for it. We already talked about Vicks Vapor Rub. It's an expectorant, so it loosens phlegm and eases congestion.
Yes.
It can be used by mouth. I know I said earlier you're not supposed to ingest it by mouth, but it's being used by mouth as a mouthwash, or in mouthwash, not as a mouthwash. Don't just put oil in your mouth and swish it around. It's an ingredient in mouthwash to fight the bacteria that causes tooth decay and periodontitis. So there are also studies done and published by the Journal of Periodontology, finding that adding eucalyptus oil to chewing gum can also promote periodontal health. So
Yes.
It's helping with respiration, it's helping with your sinuses, it's helping with your mouth health, teeth. The University of Maryland Medical, UMM, studied Aboriginal medicine and found that it can also be used to treat fungal infections and skin wounds. It makes an excellent insect repellent. In fact, in 1948, the U.S. officially registered it as an insecticide and a miticide because it will kill mites and ticks. If you use the lemon eucalyptus, which sounds quite nice, it's the most effective at keeping mosquitoes away. So you could do that. You could make a nice mosquito repellent out of lemon eucalyptus. I know people use lemongrass, so I'm not sure if it's similar, but you put lemongrass plants around and it's supposed to deter.
It does.
Yeah. So I don't know if lemon eucalyptus is similar to that or... in 2012, researchers in New Delhi found that the oil from the eucalyptus plant was effective against larvae and pupae of the housefly. So it kills off flies as well.
Yes.
It has analgesic, I said that right, properties. So it treats muscle soreness, joint pain, backaches, bruising, and arthritis. A study published in the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation suggested that athletes could use it as a passive way to warm up their muscles. That one was a really tiny study, though. That only had 10 people in it. So do with that information what you will. I mean, when there's only 10 people being studied, I feel like the results may not be as accurate as if they're studying hundreds of people. But
you said Aboriginal. Now that's making me want to go home. You're going to laugh at me, and you're going to say, of course you did. But I literally just bought an Aboriginal homeopathic medicine book.
That's awesome.
From the 70s.
I bet it's going to have stuff about eucalyptus in there.
I bet it does.
It will.
It is probably 6 inches thick. It's a really big book.
That's awesome.
We'll have to do like a whole year's worth of videos just based off of that book.
Yes, that would be awesome. We could absolutely do that. So it also stimulates the immune system. So findings published in the BMC Immunology said that eucalyptus enhances the immune system's ability to destroy foreign objects in the body. So it also was found to help, it also found that it helped with arthritis, blocked up noses. I'm assuming that means congestion. It said blocked noses, and I was like, okay. Wounds, burns, ulcers, cold sores, bladder diseases, diabetes, fever, and the flu.
Wow.
Like, seriously, is there anything that eucalyptus can't do? This stuff it just, cures everything. It doesn't really, please don't actually try and use eucalyptus to cure
No, and
everything.
what people need to understand is there's different ways of applying it as well. There's oils, there's tinctures, salves, poultice. There's different ways that they would have used it to treat different ailments. It doesn't mean that you just go and get eucalyptus oil and you'll use that for everything. You need to understand how you actually apply it.
Correct.
For it to get the
Yes.
be careful where you get this stuff from.
That is part of my next part, is part of the warnings.
Okay.
Look at Amy is part of the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy already. She just didn't know it, and they didn't know it. But the NA...
Public servant citizen chapter.
Yeah.
That's not verified, branded, or approved.
Yes. So the NAHA reminds us to always purchase essential oils from a reputable source and to handle them appropriately. If you're making your own oils at home, it's always important to follow a reputable source when finding a recipe.
Yes.
I've got a fun story it's going to take us down a tiny rabbit hole, but I tried to learn how to make fruit preserves one year, and the recipe that I got, I just found it on Google, and shockingly, Dr. Google led me astray on this one. I had never done anything of this sort, so I didn't know that it was necessary to have gelatin in these kinds of products.
Or pectin.
And this recipe called for neither. So when I made my strawberry fruit preserves, I actually made strawberry alcohol.
Yes, you did.
Which I poured all over my pancakes that we were eating before church one Sunday morning.
And she walked into church and was like, "What's up?
What's up, Pastor Shaw? What's the good word today?
Jorgensen's in the house! What's up, everybody?"
I actually realized prior to ingesting it that it did not smell right. And I was like, and my husband smelled it and then laughed at me and was like, wow, you were supposed to make fruit preserves and instead you made alcohol.
Lisa attempted to tell me this story a couple weeks back and literally got, I don't know, for her sake, let's say 5 sentences into her story. And my response was laughing and saying, that's not how you make preserves. You made alcohol.
I sure did.
I love her.
So I learned my lesson on that. You need a reputable source to give you the recipe, because if not, you may not end up with the product that you're attempting to make.
Oh, and look, I'm going to give you a compliment. Okay, just the simple fact that you try is the frame of mind that you need. Don't let anybody, I'm pointing upstairs to Mr. Jorgensen where he's at, try to deter you.
Try and make fun of me.
Do you know how many things I failed at before I actually got, I mean, people, oh, you make all this, oh, this and that, oh, it's so cool. Okay, I didn't have anybody in my corner when I started doing that stuff. Dude, I failed a lot. But the point is, it's not failure.
It's learning.
It's learning. And as long as you then do the research and figure out why you failed, don't ever just not do it again.
Yep, you'll do it better the next time.
You'll do it better the next time. And before you know it, you'll become the resident expert on said whatever.
On strawberry alcohol. Just a clarification, neither Mrs. Lucas or I even drink alcohol. So, having 20 jars of strawberry alcohol in my house is kind of a useless commodity.
Look, my making strawberry vinegar versus mead, which is alcohol, is the difference in the amount of sugar that I added. Period. That's it.
So if I had added more strawberries, maybe I could have turned it back into vinegar. I don't know that that's how that works.
Probably not.
Well,
you would have had to have way more water and But seriously, it is such a fine science between the kombucha.
Yeah.
Same thing. You add too much sugar, and you're going to take that alcohol content in the end is going to be way higher.
And then you get spicy kombucha.
And then you get spicy kombucha. But if you pay attention to the stuff in the stores, if you look on the back of them, you'll see a higher alcohol content in some of them.
Oh.
And then if you look up to the sugars, you'll also see they added more sugar.
Yeah.
And that makes it sweeter, but that actually makes it, that's not what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I'm going for just enough to ferment and not enough to turn to sugar. Now, if I were to take that fermenting and I were to just let it sit for months,
Yeah.
Yeah, I could turn that to alcohol if I wanted to. But over a week or 2 weeks, it's not alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, so then they also said proper dilution rate for ratio on the skin is 1 to 5% eucalyptus with 95 to 99% carrier oil. They recommended olive oil, but I don't know that that's the best one. That's just the example that they gave.
For putting it on the skin or for
Yes.
ingesting it?
Putting it on the skin.
For putting it on the skin, what I would recommend would be a high-grade jojoba, or you could even do like a grapeseed extract.
Okay. So there's a couple more options.
Grapeseed oil. They are, what is the word? Like when it doesn't clog your pores.
Non-comedogenic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dermatologic, whatever.
Dermatologist approved.
Yeah. The other thing with olive oil, because there are some, but most of the olive oil at the stores that people here would be going to get, it's not actually olive oil.
Yeah, it's vegetable oil.
It's vegetable oil.
I'd heard that.
Even
Probably
Bragg's got sold out.
Oh.
And I am not,
That's unfortunate.
I won't be buying that anymore because that family-owned business is now corporate conglomerate.
Oh.
And so I no longer will trust. I've got a couple growers in California that I'm looking at to purchase there because they cold press it. They make it right there in California.
Yeah. I just thought it was odd that you'd use olive oil as the carrier for something you were putting on your skin. But again, I'm new to this, so I was like, well.
I would 100% use it for something I'm taking internally, especially if you have a high grade.
Yeah.
Because there's health benefits to the olive oil in itself.
Yeah.
But not for skin.
Yeah. Another one of the warnings they gave was to complete an allergy test prior to using it in general, because allergies, even if you've used eucalyptus oil previously, allergies do develop and change over time. So they recommended when you're going to use eucalyptus oil or any new product really, to put 1 drop on your arm and to let it set for 24 hours. If you have a reaction, discontinue use. If you don't have a reaction, you are good to go.
Well, the other thing too, if you're going to make it up, don't make up a huge batch.
Make it up in small batch.
The oil goes rancid.
Yeah, it loses its
It's like 1 or 2 years. And if you don't know the manufacturing date, like if you are buying it in the store and you don't know the manufacturing date of that oil, it fresh pressed oil will go rancid in 1 to 2 years on the shelf.
Oh, good to know. The other warning on here was not to put it too close to your eyes, as it can cause burning, but that may or may not.
I call hogwash.
Be accurate.
I call hogwash on that one.
Mrs. Lucas uses it as eye drops. She
I
doesn't
do
really
not use it as eye drops. The closest to the eye
eyeballs.
we have ever gotten was on the upper lip.
I think this warning was more saying, like, don't put it right under your eyes, like on the skin under your eyes.
You know, I don't think I would ever have gone that close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure putting it under your nose is still fine.
Okay.
One of my main sources today was Medical News Today. So I want to put that out there because I got a lot of information off their site. I'm also going to link on our Facebook page the different studies that I referenced here today, just so if anybody cares to take the time, they can actually go back and look at the studies and see the information for themselves and come to their own conclusions, because anytime I say anything, that is probably your best bet, is to actually look at it for yourself. So since we are a little bit longer winded than we expected, which I know is probably a shock to everybody.
I am pleasantly surprised at your long-windedness in today's episode.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm contributing to the episode. So we are going to end this episode, and then next week we are going to come back, and Mrs. Lucas is going to be telling us all about
Mullein,
which she also forages for. because she's awesome like that.
And if we have time, I'd like to touch on oregano too.
If we don't, I'm sure we can create another episode about oregano. I actually really like oregano oil, so that's kind of exciting.
Oh,
I can learn more about it.
Much. Now, I will say, just for everybody's, knowledge, none of my information that I'm going to be giving comes from anything, let's say, Western medicine.
It comes from Amy's brain.
It does not come from my brain, but it comes from more homeopathic resources, not from the actual medical community. Although I will say a great resource for information if you're wanting it from an actual doctor, Dr. Axe, A-X-E.
Okay, I was just going to ask.
Dr. Axe is a great resource. He won't always get into, actually, he will never really get into how to actually make the stuff yourself. But he's a great resource. Like if you were to go in and you were to put in the eucalyptus, benefits of eucalyptus on his website, he's got a lot of great information. And if it's actually really good to use, like he's all about that.
Nice. So we are going to wrap this episode up. If you have any stories you would like to share with us about eucalyptus, let us know.
Or things you're curious about and you want us to cover.
Yeah, if you have ideas for future episodes, let us know. We've gotten quite a bit of feedback so far, so we are taking all of it to heart, and we are adjusting things and making improvements as we see fit. So, and if you would like to see recipes for some of these things, like ways to use eucalyptus or oregano or mullein. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Let us know that, because we could always post some of that stuff.
I could absolutely be pronouncing it wrong. Pronouncing it.
Well, you are the world-renowned expert on it.
Not pronunciations.
Of the pronunciations of the special words.
I just know what it does.
Yeah.
I don't care how you say it.
Yeah.
Potato.
We'll spell stuff if we don't know how to pronounce it. So that way, if we're pronouncing it wrong, you can still figure out what we're talking about.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah. So we will see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us. We love you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.